Hello, this video is going to show how to create new RepInfo using the SCIDIP-ES RepInfo Toolkit. Other videos have shown how to use the search and expand operations to find existing RepInfo and graph labels and explore their virtual RepInfo networks. But this tutorial will show how to create new RepInfo objects from scratch. There are two main ways to do this. Here we'll cover adding RepInfo by hand for when your RepInfo object already exists and you just want to add its details to a RIDO. A separate video will cover the RepInfo Toolkit's new RepInfo wizard that supports creation of new RepInfo using an external tool. So to create new RepInfo by hand, we'll drag our RIDO onto the canvas, and I will just use the zoom button to make it a bit larger and select it. Now, note the RepInfo or RI properties in the properties panel in the right hand side. There are three things that we need to define. We need to give it a name, which we can do by typing something into the name field. I will just type Google search because that's what I'm going to give as an example. We need to set its location by giving a URI in the reference field, and we'll just direct people to Google here. The third thing we need to do is to give it a graph label. Every RepInfo object must have a graph label associated with it. That's to tell people how to interpret the RepInfo in terms of other RepInfo objects. And we can't do that from the properties panel here. The simplest way to associate a graph label with our RepInfo is to search for one. So in this case, our RepInfo is an HTML page, so I'm going to search for graph labels about HTML. So I right click and choose Search Registry for graph labels, and in the keyword box I will write HTML and search. This finds an XHTML graph label, and I'm quite happy to use that, so I'll select that and say OK, and that's added to our canvas. So now I should be able to see that our top level RIDO now has some graph label details in it from the graph label that we've just added. Note the question mark in our RIDO here. This means that we've put details into it that aren't yet in a registry. It may be that we've changed it or that it's a new object. But now we have enough information here because we've given it a graph label, we've given it a name and a reference. We have enough information here to put it into a registry. So if I right click, now you should see there's a Create New in Registry option on the menu, but it's grayed out. That's because it only applies to RIDOs that contain completely new things, so new graph label and a new RepInfo. And in this case, we have an existing graph label, the one for XHTML. So although we haven't changed the graph label, the RepInfo is new and we need to use an update to update it in the registry. And if I select update, the update dialog shows us the objects that are going to be written back to a registry. In this case, there's only one object, which is the Google search RepInfo. It's new, so we have to choose a registry for it from our list of available registries. So I'm going to choose the APA registry. And having done that, I'm already logged into the APA registry, so I don't need to do that again. And so now I can say OK. And the RepInfo is now being updated in the registry. And if I click OK, the question mark goes away because this is now updated. And we can now see that the RI has an ID, a version, and a registry. So that's a simple example of how to add RepInfo by hand. See the next video for an example of how to use the new RepInfo wizard.